So spiritual friendship in Buddhism is known as kalyāṇa-mitta in Pali. It holds great importance. It refers to the deep and supportive relationship between individuals who are committed to spiritual growth and the practice of the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. A spiritual friend is someone who inspires, encourages, and guides others on the path to enlightenment. From a Buddhist perspective, spiritual friendship is considered one of the most significant factors contributing to one's progress on the spiritual path. The Buddha himself emphasized the role of spiritual friendship, stating good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship is the whole of the holy life. Spiritual friendship involves several key qualities and functions which he enumerated. Number one, the virtuous qualities. A spiritual friend possesses virtuous qualities such as ethical conduct, compassion, wisdom, and patience. These qualities serve as an inspiration for others and create a positive and supportive environment for spiritual growth. Number two, sharing the Dhamma. Spiritual friends engage in discussion, sharing teachings, insights, and personal experiences related to the Dhamma. They help each other deepen their understanding of the teachings and apply them in their lives. Number three is encouragement and support. Spiritual friends provide mutual encouragement and support during challenging times on the spiritual path. They offer guidance, motivation, and a compassionate presence to help each other overcome obstacles and maintain their practice. Number four, challenging and correcting. Spiritual friends offer constructive criticism and challenge each other when necessary. They help identify and rectify unwholesome habits, biases, wrong views, promoting personal growth and development. Number five, mirroring and reflecting. Spiritual friends act as mirrors, reflecting each other's strengths and weaknesses. They provide honest feedback, helping individuals cultivate self-awareness and recognize areas for improvement. Number six, noble competition. Spiritual friends engage in healthy competition, inspiring each other to strive for excellence in their practice. They set positive examples, motivating each other to progress on the path. Number seven, non-judgmental acceptance. Spiritual friends accept each other without judgment, recognizing that everyone has their own unique journey and pace of development. They cultivate compassion, kindness, patience toward one another. Overall, spiritual friendship in Buddhism is a relationship based on mutual respect, trust, and shared aspirations for spiritual awakening. It plays a vital role in providing support, guidance, and inspiration on the path to liberation from suffering. So that's how important the Buddha thought friendship is. So with that introduction, I'd like to, as I usually do, invite you to share your experiences of what friendship means to you, how important it's been for your own path and development. And if you feel free to, raise your hand on the, in the bottom of the screen there should be a little hand-raising icon, I think, isn't there? And or the chat. Oh yeah, the reactions is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, so that we can offer you the opportunity to share what friendship, how important it is, or what your thoughts are about it.
Oh, okay, Frank, you have something to say, Frank?
Yes, only just a short sentence. I was very surprised to see this sentence spoken by Einstein, who's one of the greatest, if maybe the greatest of, when it comes to science. He said, the only life worthwhile to live till the end is when you live a life of someone else. Maybe my English is not 100%, but I understood it that if you can be unselfish and your life is full with goodwill help, then that life is really worthwhile living. So giving up selfishness is the only way for friendship to have a real friendship. Like next Saturday, I have a friend, he's 90 years old, and he taught me the computer, how to use it, etc. And I'm going to thank him from the heart for that. Friendship goes back 50 years, always helping me. But real friendship with a wife, for example, or with a husband, I think it's a bit more difficult. All right, I'm not whinging, I'm not complaining.
That's real relationship, maybe not friendship.
Yes, exactly. I wouldn't mind if it wasn't a relationship, but it would be friendship. I mean, she was the girl next door I married, went to the same school, worked in the same place for 25 years. And being married 62 years, and she is impatient and abrupt with me. So then I just keep quiet, look into my heart, go down to the park for a walk, being part of nature. And I think it's not easy to have this friendship in the heart. But David was right that we have to be our friends first, to appreciate ourselves, be kind to ourselves, try to be a good human being. And when we make mistake, then the friendship should come up towards ourselves and forgive ourselves. So friendship. Just before I joined you, I took part in a Bible study, 1.5 hours, talking about Israel and the Palestinians, friendship. Oh, my. On the end, nobody was smart or could give advice how these two nations should learn the Buddha's teaching that hatred will never be overcome by hatred, only by eternal love and forgiving. But in the Talmud, it says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And that's very typical of the Jewish nation. Yeah, so after 1.5 hours, not one smart word about the whole situation, how to solve it, what to do. I was the only one mentioning the Buddha, as I usually do, because Jesus Christ taught the same thing what the Buddha taught, that hatred is not a solution. Hitting, punching back with vigor and much more hatred, it won't solve anything. So if the whole world would know the Buddha's teaching that hatred won't solve anything, it would be a completely different place. And I'm doing a charity work for the Hungarians living in the Ukraine. And I looked at my St. George account, $14,000 I sent to the Ukraine. There are 200,000 of my countrymen living there. And more than 5,500 Ukrainian kids in the Hungarian schools. Nearly 500,000 is fed by the Hungarians. And you know what? Zelensky and the Hungarian or the Ukrainian government done. They stopped teaching Hungarian in the schools. That is gratitude. That is friendship. So the whole world would be nice to be friends.
Frank, do us a favor. Let's see your friendly face. Your video isn't on. Is it possible for you to turn your video on? Feel comfortable with it?
His computer crashed. He can't get it on.
Oh, it crashed. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Last Thursday evening, 9 o'clock, listening to Pandit's Dhamma talk.
Oh, okay.
My computer crashed and it just recovered now. But actually, I complained to NBN and they said, my place is even lower than the airport. Therefore, sometimes I'm appearing, sometimes not. And today I even shaved. Maybe Meredith will notice that I shaved and I had a long bath, because she's a lovely girl. She's my friend. But I went through the Bible study without my face, but I learned what I could.
Well, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Frank, for your sharing and such deep generosity and beauty of spirit. And you're absolutely right. Everything that you said, so simple, the truth, and so neglected, almost universally. You're absolutely right. But we must never give in to despair, though, because it's also profound how even little changes in the direction of the sort of generosity that you embody yourself can make a huge difference. So even though, there's a lot of ignorance in the world, that shouldn't make any difference to how we show up. In fact, if anything, it's the thing which prompts us to do this work. This is why we're here, not to save the world, but as a byproduct of our love of truth. This is a move in the right direction, which is the only move. And it's so powerful. You're right. It's actually the wars are evidence of the lack of the capacity for friendship. It's so simple and yet so profoundly neglected. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
And the mic is open.
Yeah, I think spiritual friendship, like normally think spiritual friendship is people you relate to in a sangha or spiritual community. But I find that to be spiritual friendship is everywhere. Like I just came back from Hong Kong yesterday. I spent 2 weeks in Hong Kong meeting up with friends and family. I find myself like now relating to them differently, naturally, because I can relate to them not as like family member or as an old friend, because people I met, they're like own them for years, like 30, 40 years, it's just so what I find myself change is like I so relate them as a spiritual friend, in the sense that I can see them as part of as a human being and share the same hopes and fears and experiences and the world. And so with that sort of understanding or awareness, I find myself just relate to them as that. And not expecting anything from them, or more importantly, not judging them, or just allow themselves to be who they are, and if they want to talk, I just listen and just embrace whatever wherever they are. So in a way, I find it very freeing. Because that way I can relate to them as they are and not try to impose anything on them. And I find it in my experiences that it's very, very, what should I say, very pleasant and also very warm. There's no tension. There's no no conflict. Or maybe it's easy because I was there only for a visit, but with that approach, I find that I enjoy the whoever I met a lot more. Because in some way they're all my friends and also my spiritual friends. I can't, and the share, the common sharing, the we have all in common is that we share life in this world and part of human race, and that's enough for me. Even though they're not like part of any Sangha or part of any religious groups, we don't talk about religions or spirituality, but then the presence, and I feel I also enjoy the being with them. There's enough to make me feel it's very, they're my spiritual friends in a sense.
Yeah, that's lovely. I think I would suggest that it's your warmth which creates this sort of atmosphere in which friendship can really flourish. You know, so often we tend to, it's a risk in a way to be really open and warm. Some people feel a little bit defensive at first, don't they? But if you take that first step of just being at ease in yourself and accepting yourself totally as you are, it sort of gives a message, doesn't it, to the other, to feel at ease, and then friendship can blossom.
Yeah,
so that's lovely. Yeah, it's your husband. I would say you're the one of the friendliest beings on the planet.
No, I think that the difference is like I have no expectation of them, you know, and just take it easy, take things easy, and just enjoy whatever, you know, and not judging them and not imposing anything. It is so freeing. And after not having seen them for like 4 years since the COVID time, I find that the approach or the state of mind very liberating and very pleasant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Well, for me, I'm very blessed about friendship. I'm not sure we can call it spiritual friendship. Sometimes the definition of spiritual, I don't know whether that indicates or you know about something about spiritually, because I'm blessed with friends. I mean, to me, real friendship, real friends is somebody that you don't even have to talk to like for years, because some of my best friends is in, you know, not in this country. We don't even need to kind of talk to each other very often or what, but once we see each other, that connection is just there, you know, like it's, and my friend is like, whenever I go back, it's like I just lightly mention even the smallest things, like maybe this thing is nice, or and then she will go, you know, to the moon and back and try to get me, you know, even I'm just mention slightly things like that, and that's I'm very blessed to have friends like that. And sometimes I often see a lot of people around us, and you know, a lot of people sometimes even when they, you know, getting old and things like that, they don't even have a single friend. That is really sad. Sometimes I feel, I mean, we don't have like a lot of, I mean, we have a lot of friends, but a real kalyāṇa-mitta, a real friends, even if you have just one or two, it's enough to me, I feel.
That's lovely. I think just to pick up on one point that you mentioned there, Meredith, about you know, you're differentiating between spiritual friendship and some other forms of friendship there. But for me, even the word spirit is sort of indicative of something that we can't actually pin down and name in an objective way. It's you know, we call it like Buddha nature, is what in Christian terms would be your spiritual essence. So these are words that point to something quite ineffable. But one of the characteristics of true friendship is to see the other as myself, you know, and to the body sort of looks different, but there's something fundamental which is unchanging and which is shared. And that recognition of the other as me is really what deep empathy, love, compassion is all about, I think. And so
it's like you don't have to pretend to be someone else, right?
Yeah, exactly,
it's just
yeah.
like they see you as you,
yeah,
and you don't have to be, you know, like to be who they want you to be.
and that's profoundly spiritual. It may seem just like simple friendship, but that's
Yeah,
it's spiritual.
yeah, it's very true.
Oh, yeah, I'll have a go.
Oh, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Yeah. Hi, Frank. Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm only 72, but I've really lost all of my closest friends already.
Mm.
I've got other associates, but my really best friends have all gone. So, and to me, you people, the Sangha is everything to me. Coming along on Thursday nights here means a hell of a lot to me. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, a lot of you I've never even met personally. Yeah, I've only become a Buddhist since the lockdowns. Yeah, but I hope to meet you all in person sometime in the future. But thank you for being my friends.
Thank you, Bill. You're the most
Bill.
humble person I ever met.
That's very touching, Bill, and I think you're saying something for all of us, you know, just how precious it is to belong to a community such as this one.
Yes.
And, you know, we may think that it's just, you know, once a week or something, or but it can be the mainstay of someone's life, as you expressed, and it's a very precious. And I find this Zoom platform to be absolutely amazing. I mean, people all over the world I can connect with and push of a button. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So we, you know, it's good to recognize that we value friendship, and just knowing that how precious it is, we can take that step of you know, the slight risk of reaching out, because sometimes you know, it can seem easier just to sort of stay in our own little secluded space, but that's very dangerous. That's one of the biggest issues with people as they age. You know, I'm much older than you, Bill. I'm 75. But increasingly, you know, I've noticed how easy it would be for me just to sort of slip off the perch. You know, you've got to sort of work against gravity to stay in the swing of things, and so it's always worth the effort. Yeah. Thank you. Friendly dog.
David.
Hi, Rob. Welcome.
Yeah, David. Hi, David. Yeah, Michelle and I just got back from holidays yesterday. We're travelling for 6 weeks in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. And, yeah, it's quite an amazing adventure holiday. And speaking of friendship, I'd like to talk about the kindness to strangers, you know, and you know, the kindness that was extended to us from everybody we met, you know, from hotel keepers to restaurant owners, even tuk-tuk drivers. But it's yeah, when you get out in the world and you experience that kindness, and even the kindness and friendship between travellers as well, you know, we're all you almost feel like you're united somehow in this game of life, you know. You kind of almost depend on each other, on other travellers and on everybody else, and that kindness that you experience in travelling from other people, it is quite amazing, and it's quite uplifting too. So yeah, it's just something we experienced while travelling. So yeah, it's quite an experience, and a cherished experience, that friendship and kindness.
Yeah, you remind me of a friend of mine who did the what's it called, the Camino, is it? The
Camino, yeah, the Camino trail in Spain, I think, yeah.
And he was saying that he set off and did, you know, it's an enormous distance that they travel, but he set off without any food and without any accommodation planned. And he said it was absolutely incredible, just the serendipity of whatever he really needed showed up in terms of, you know, friendship and hospitality and food and everything. That became, he did this in his early 20s. It became a foundational experience for trust in life. You know, just because without that he would have been in big trouble. But it was just amazing. I mean, it made me think, you know, it'd be a lovely thing to do. It's never too late. Bill, you and I we set off and do for the old guys. But what an incredible experience. But it reminds me of what you just shared. Yeah.
If I may say just a few more words about Buddhist friendship. At the end of the 60s, I mean 1960s, arriving in Sydney with hardly any English knowledge, my younger sister bought a villa home in East Lakes, Mascot, next to the Buddhist Society of New South Wales. Mrs. Jackson, Malcolm Pierce, Nara Pierce. They were running a Japanese Rishokosei Kai organization. And the first book I read in English was The Third Eye, Lobsang Rampa. And it took me a year to read it with a Hungarian dictionary. But the sentence still in my heart, that life is pain, and the cause of sorrow and pain is grasping, wanting, attachment. I said, that was my life so far here, born during the war, etc. So I asked them, what do I have to do to become a Buddhist? And Mrs. Jackson said, oh, Frank, that means we love you. Oh, I said, that's easy, that's beautiful. So after a few months, I was there at every Dhamma talk, and many young people, around 20, 30, etc. And some Japanese influence, of course, there. One day, Malcolm put a board on our bag, and everybody had a pencil or whatever. And we had to write our opinion about whoever you pick. And when it all finished, I got the board and kept reading. And you didn't know who wrote it. And some of them said, oh, Frank is very naive. He can only learn from pain. That sort of thing, you know. And I said, gee, I have to learn a lot of things here. So that was my first year with Buddhist friendship. And then out at Wiseman's Ferry, 10-day course with Ayakema, Prakantipalo, and no talking, quiet for 10 days. And I remember I had to leave a day earlier, and one of the girls came up and gave me just a piece of paper. I still have it here with my books. That was 1970, a long time ago. And it said, dear Frank, I know you're leaving. I do not want to break noble silence, but I wanted to thank you for your questions and your sincerity, etc., etc. Thanks very much, Sonia. I never knew which one was Sonia because there was about 30 people there. So that piece of paper means so much to me. It's in my heart. Of course, I never showed it to my wife because she could have been jealous who this Sonia was who really appreciated me. So it's a very little thing, nothing big, nothing serious, but the little piece of paper means Buddhist friendship to me. And just one more thing. When I became a real Buddhist, it was in the first few months when I realized that everybody, all the Buddhist people, so sincere, they do not want to prove anything, how smart they are. So they can always talk about their faults, shortcomings. You can always ask for advice. So I never felt ashamed with my accent or that I had no education. I dropped out of school in year 9. Yeah, because my father passed away. I was 14. My mother in the hospital with hernia operations 3 times. And we had a small bakery. And somebody had to do it. And I was 14, get up midnight without machines, working very hard. So, but I never had to prove how smart I was or how whatever I am. Actually, I wrote a small article in Dhamma, was the name of the magazine in Tokyo. Of course, took the Hungarian dictionary, a lot of use writing English. And I still have the magazine, Frank Pete, coming from Hungary, pastry cook, etc. The other day, I got it and I said, I'm going to read it, what I wrote 40, 45 years ago. And 13 times the word I was in the magazine. And I felt ashamed this moment. And 25 years later, I wrote another article to to Wise Man's Ferry, to the monastery where Tamprakru Samai, etc., was the leader. Twice I mentioned the word I. I said, Frank, well done. 11 times less the I. So that's Dhamma. So I became my friend, really. But it took a lot of time. And I really appreciated that you listened to me, even with my accent, etc., and without education. So to be a Buddhist and to have friends like Meredith and Bill and all the others means so much to me, to my life, that if I have to die, I'm 82 now. I know, Meredith, I don't look 82. But, but if I have to go, I will go as a happy man. I had a full life.
You're still young, Frank. You're still young.
Sorry, I talked so much.
Oh, that's beautiful, and you illustrate that lovely point of such a simple gesture of Sonia writing that note that stayed with you all your life. I mean, that's just
Yes.
wonderful. We just don't know what little act of kindness is going to make someone's day or make someone's life. And I mean, I often find, you know, when I just walk across the footpath, across the pedestrian crossing on the road, and if I look at the person who's stopped for me and just acknowledge them and just give them a little smile and a wave, there's just a moment of something very special there, and it's very palpable. People seem often surprised that I would acknowledge them that way, and it's just an utterly effortless gesture. But these little opportunities that we have in our everyday life, if we just knew what a difference it can make to some people's lives, we would be amazed, I think. Yeah. Michelle, I wonder if you would like to share anything, or you prefer to be.
I think you're muted, Michelle.
Oh no, she's okay now.
Yeah, I managed to do it. Yeah, I think I agree. It does mean a lot, friendship, and I agree that you don't need to have a lot of like those really close friends, and the community that is around is you know, here and in other places is really important. It's very important. So when I first came across the association, Sue will remember, because I lived across the road in Lewisham about 10 years ago, and I used to come to Sue's yoga, and it was really also meant a lot to me to be able to come. So yeah, I definitely, you know, understand that sort of feeling of finding that community and that sort of positivity and things like that in terms of the Buddhist friendship. So I've sort of moved away and then sort of come in and out. But yeah, I know it's incredibly important in many places. In the workplace, it's also important just to have it. You don't need many people. I'm in a big workplace, but just, you know, one or two people that you can actually be yourself with, I suppose. Even in that context, it's quite important.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't recall meeting you when I was attending Lewisham, but that was a while back. But I'd be interested in your experience of yoga, because you know, I imagine that being in a room, you know, with people doing the same sort of practices, and even if you don't actually say anything to anyone there is a communion. There's something that we're doing, a shared experience, and it can be very rich, hey? Just a bodily experience of some communion.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And I also agree of what you say, Michelle, about like even in the workplace, you know, you just have even one or two people that you can connect with. That's it's already kind of like strong enough to pull you into that place. I mean, sometimes some of the workplace are quite awful. So I was just talking to my colleague as well. It's like, it's not because of two of you. I wouldn't have come to this place to work. I wouldn't want to come every morning to work, you know. So sometimes it's so important, it's so powerful, isn't it? So to be able to have this connection, you know, this relationship, this friendship with others.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well said, Meredith. And, you know, it gives me an opportunity just to appreciate your friendship and not just to me in this group, but to the whole association. And, you know, what an amazing contribution of friendly support you've offered so many people. Yeah, you're really precious.
No, you offer me back as well, you know. Look at the, you know, all of you smiling faces. And then sometimes in the library I met you. So happy met Frank. So it's reciprocal. I mean, it's not just one side, you know, like yeah, I received a lot from you as well.
Thanks,
Okay.
Meredith.
I think we might take the opportunity to do a little meditation now. So
Yeah.
if you just like to find your seated position of effortless uprightness. So if you once you get yourself settled, so just finding a position of utterly letting go, allowing gravity to hold you. And to begin by appreciating this opportunity we have of all being on the same page in terms of our valuing of each other, our friendships. And as we sit quietly, we can bring that more internally as well, that sort of inner warmth that we've been talking about in offering to others. We can offer it to ourselves. We can be resting in that warmth of the openness of our own heart. And as we become aware of breathing, we can know that it's not just this body breathing, but the whole world is breathing in different ways. It's the shared breath. The air that we breathe is the same air that the Buddha breathed. That the animals breathe. That the trees breathe. So we can enjoy that borderless intimacy with one and all. And this richness of the open heart of Buddha nature automatically flows into the world. finding its way to the places where it's needed, just offering our silent blessings for those suffering. May they find peace even in the midst of tragedy. We can dedicate the merits of our peace to flow into the troubled world. Knowing that the Buddha nature that we are, the love that we are, is not limited by the body, not limited in space and time. The love that we have shared with people who have passed on is still a presence here and now. Compassion that we have for those across the world who are enduring unspeakable atrocities and destructiveness, and travel in an unlimited fashion just by the generosity of the open heart, and translate into actions in the world. But even just the openness and allowing the suffering to be present in the heart is already something very, very precious. And being together in meditation is a profound experience of peace, which can transcend time and space and be a gift even when we're not sitting together like this. We can touch into this experience that's unchanging, be a source of nurturing peace throughout the intervals when we're not sitting together. We just come home to here and now. And we're all connected. And from this place of openness, peace, we can be aware of the thoughts that come and go, the feelings that rise and fall, the bodily sensations that call for our attention. We can be aware of them from a deep place of peace, without having to change anything. It's as though we're sitting by a riverbank, and as the river flows by, it has branches and leaves and ripples flowing along. There's apparent movement, but the flow is just one flow. And there's even no separation between me and that, just the flow. When we experience this deeply in the body, the boundaries dissolve, and there's just a wonderful opening, dissolving in the experience of the dance of the body, free, spacious. Boundless, so in a sense, this body and the world are one. And the cultivation of this meditative presence has profound implications for the world. So as we begin to bring our awareness to the rising from this meditation, we can also be aware of the fact that this is our final meeting for the year. And at the same time, this awareness of the flow, which is unlimited, allows us to carry this peace, this friendship, this openness as a lived experience in every moment. So that when we meet again, it's only an illusion of space between meetings, that this effortless presence is who and what we are always. And then gently allowing the return to the full senses of seeing and hearing, sensing. And the gift of being together. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for this beautiful and very peaceful meditations, and we sense the have that sense of effortlessly effortlessness into our lives. Thank you so much, David, and thank you for providing your teachings. Thank you for being always very supportive to the community, and thank you for all your support throughout the year. And thank you everyone for being such a fabulous people here in this Zoom space, and for the past few years. Well, we don't know what's going to happen for the following years, but as what David says, this is just that it's limitless. The space is wherever we are, we will still be together. I think that's all for tonight, and it has been a privilege being with you in this Zoom space for the past few years. So I really thank all of you for being very supportive to us, and always come and support this our talk and Dhamma talks and meditation. So thank you very much.
Meredith, thank you
Yes.
for running the whole show all year. Please don't leave us next year. Stay with us.
you should come and join the committee then, Frank.
Well done, Meredith. Keep it up.
Thanks for
AGM
everything.
is coming. If anyone interested to join the committee, please welcome, and put up your hand for it.
So we'll see you on the 30th.
Okay, we'll
All
see
the
everyone.
best.
All the best,
All the
Frank.
best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
I'm waving.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
everything.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Hey.